These refugees were rescued by India's Coast Guard as they were fleeing the economic crisis in Sri Lanka. Tamil Nadu is used to accommodating people from Sri Lanka seeking refuge in the state. However, the only difference is that this time they are not refugees fleeing a war, but an economic crisis. When these refugees arrived, they were initially arrested on charges of illegal immigration and lodged in the Puzhal prison. Later, their identities were verified and they were moved to refugee camps on what the Tamil Nadu government called humanitarian grounds. This confusion has turned the attention to India's refugee policy. India does not have a clear-cut policy or even a law to deal with refugees. India is also not a signatory to the 1951 UN Convention relating to the status of refugees. The closest India has come to a refugee policy in recent years is the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. The government is, however, yet to finalize a framework for the act, which has already been called discriminatory on the basis of religion. Despite no law or policy in place, India has continued to help scores of refugees over the years based on their circumstances. India also lacks laws which differentiate refugees from illegal immigrants. Refugees who have come to India in the past were either fleeing war or religious persecution. Since 1983, India has taken in about 3 lakh refugees, most of them voluntarily repatriated to Lanka. This time, however, it is a different scenario, with Sri Lankans fleeing an economic crisis. While the current batch of refugees are being termed as economic migrants, the term in itself is problematic. Globally, economic refugee is a term used for those who seek economic advancement on foreign soil. These refugees are just fleeing hunger and impoverishment in Sri Lanka. While India has no law or policy on refugees, it is a signatory to the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, which includes the principle of non-refoulement. Non-refoulement means no refugee should be forcibly returned to any country where they would be at risk of persecution. And given that in this case the refugees are fleeing an economic crisis and not being persecuted, it is unlikely that the Union government will be under any obligation to extend help. Those refugees who were detained by the Coast Guard were booked under the Passport Act and the Foreigners Act on grounds of being illegal immigrants, before the government decided to move them to camps. This is because of the lack of a proper procedure in place when it comes to dealing with migrants. In a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin sought the Union government's approval to provide humanitarian aid to Sri Lankan Tamils who are fleeing the crisis. This is because immigration comes under the Union list, as a result of which the state government has no say in formulating policies or extending aid to refugees. The Tamil Nadu government has, however, extended social welfare schemes like free rice, essential kits, and festival incentives to Sri Lankan refugees who are already housed in camps across the state. The head of each refugee family is given a monthly allowance of 1,000 rupees. The DMK government has also announced a scheme to build 3,510 houses for refugees. It is also looking to renovate 7,469 existing homes and provide financial assistance to refugee students for higher education. Media reports quoted Jacinta Lazarus, the Commissioner for Rehabilitation and Welfare of Non-Resident Tamils, as having directed the local administration to ensure basic facilities at the camp, including housing, drinking water, and electricity to accommodate the refugees. This will give the refugees some security until the Union government comes up with a plan. All this ambiguity and confusion has yet again thrown the spotlight on the need for India to formulate a policy to deal with refugees. A federal report.